Good morning, everybody. It's the OK Grognard Show. It is Monday, May 11th, 2020, 9:30 a.m. Central in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And it is Monday, which means we'll just be covering some news and discussing a few things regarding what's coming up during the week for the show. And of course, we'll be doing the weekly drawing. This week is the last set of dice going out. It's the charcoal set, the one down the left there. The other 5 went out previously. I'll recap. But let me just announce who's this one so there's no confusion. The charcoal set is going to Daniel, who goes by Prometheus Bound. I'm sure if you've popped into the chat during the stream at some point, you've probably seen him in there. He's there a lot. So he kind of increased his odds by showing up pretty regularly. And not a bad plan. To those of you thinking about it, the more often, if you're coming every week, you're increasing your chances of winning something over time. Now, if you're there multiple times a week, that's not necessarily going to help your odds, but doesn't mean you shouldn't. Then again, maybe you have a particular penchant for adventure design, and Friday's the day you want to come in. Maybe there are times when all you want is to hear about a setting, or you want to check out the cartoon on Saturday. And those are the days you have free, so those are the days you stop in. It's all appreciated very much. I'll be checking it out tomorrow and see if I can take these dice down to the stone by the fountain to get them blessed. The red set went to Jen Martin. She goes by Snow Quilter and was very happy to win the first week. Second week went to Dennis Smith. Dennis, I believe, I should double check this. I'm pretty sure Dennis went for the emerald set. I'm just going to double check it real quick here because I don't want to be wrong. There it is. Okay. Just double checking it here. One, two, three. And there we go. Yes, emerald is his. That's right. And I know he plans to pass those along to a relative who doesn't have their own set yet. So that's a good thing. Who won the third week? Mike. Mike Walewski won that third week. I'm just going to double check what set he won as well. He goes by Skull and Pants in the chat. And he picked out where'd it go? Just looking it back up here. Going back through. Let's see. Did he ever make a decision? I'm sure he did. Now I'm having trouble seeing it, though. Uh-oh. Well, I know he did. I think he went with gray. I think I'll have to process of elimination this just to make sure I get the right one. There it is, gray. Yep, definitely the gray set for him. Okay, I'm going to get that straightened out in here. There we go. For those keeping score, that's red, emerald, and gray. Already chosen. Todd Nelson also won a set in week 4. I'd like to express our condolences. He just made it clear online that his father passed away this last week. Sadly, he had to go to Pittsburgh to deal with that and help out with his mother while he was there, get things squared away. And he chose the purple set. He's from up the coast in Wisconsin. And not that you have to be from Wisconsin to win a set. But, as you can imagine, a lot of the people that are jumping into the chat are people that I know. Who else would follow the channel, right? And honestly, there are a number of people that I haven't met in person that do follow. But that doesn't mean oops, I better get this address. Chris Brown. Chose the Navy set. Navy, yep. Chris and Alan Kovarik are doing a radio station slash show slash podcast highlighting people from the Lake Geneva area. Chris runs a business in Slade's Corners that repairs computers and gets you set up with computers if that's your need. I'll get Chris's address and I'll be all set here. And as I said, it was Daniel from Burlington who won the charcoal set. So mostly people from Illinois and Wisconsin, but that's not surprising considering where I'm located and that most of the people I know who are following the show and stuff most are from the area. very happy to be doing it. Should let you know that, there we go. There's also a new contest for anybody who's popping in this week. Don't have anybody in here yet today, but you should know that, and let's just do this real quick. There are 3 patches that have been volunteered by Thaddeus Patches Moore, as Hobbs calls him. These are 2 of what they look like. There's a 3rd one that looks like a sword, like from the Conan logos from the movies. So we've got the old school blue dungeon map. You've got the Man in the Moonish sort of, it's almost like an old Howard Pyle public domain, old school Renaissance image. And then you've got the mighty sword, which is also on offer. So those three patches will be part of the week 7. That's this week, starting yesterday through this Saturday. Follow this channel. Speak up in the chat, as our friend today who just showed up, Bone Shooter 87. Welcome. I'll add you to the automatic drawing list for week 7. I don't think I have you in there yet. Nope, got you in there now. Excellent. Those patches I just showed will be part of the will be the drawing for week 7. Those old school patches. All you have to do to be part of the drawing is follow the channel and then speak up at some point during a live stream in the stream chat, and you're all automatically added at that point to the list for the drawing for that week. Provided the construction work is done and the fountain, the memorial stone down by the fountain is back opened up, I'll be going down tomorrow to take the dice, put them on the stone, get them blessed, and take pictures of that, each set being blessed. I think that's hopefully something that's available for me to do, because I'd like to send these out right away. I don't want people waiting for them too long. And, while I'm down there, I should probably take the patches with me, put them on the stone, take a picture of them, get the patches blessed too. I don't see why not, right? There we go. Got the last address that I need, which I hadn't gotten. I thought I had. But now I've got them all. So everybody is set. Alrighty. So, actually, in Burlington as well. Very good. Well, there's 2 in Burlington, 1 in Two Rivers, 1 in Cedarburg, 1 in East Troy, and 1 in Round Lake Beach, Illinois. So we've got 5 Wisconsin and 1 Illinois winner for our first 5 drawings the OK Grognard Show. So what's coming up this week? Well, as you know, every Monday we do weekly news and giveaway. Let's consider this the weekly news portion. We've done the giveaway already. On Tuesday, it's about cartography. Bone Shooter says he's down in North Carolina. Very nice. My folks are down in South Carolina, as it happens. Just sent some Mother's Day greetings down there, sadly. Can't get together this year, what with the isolation and all. But she's well, Pops is well. They're starting to get to that point, though, since they're in their 80s. When they get closer to June, they don't want to be down there. Summertime, they like to spend up north, where it's not quite as hot. It's away from the hurricanes. So, back into D&D late last year after a 30-year hiatus, says Bone Shooter. Started painting again about 2 weeks ago. Well, you know, I'm going to be doing some painting on Thursday, 9:30. Actually, I'll be showing some highlights then from some painting I did over the course of the week, which is the lesser of two evils. You definitely don't want to be sitting around watching me struggle to paint something. 9:30 every day. This Thursday's crafting and painting, and I'll be painting up some 3D printed dungeon tile pieces. I wanted to pick out something that would require as little skill as possible for someone of my skill level and talent, because I've always described what I do as slapping paint on something. It's usually blotchy. It's hard to tell where the eyes are, and you can't help but grimace when you take a good look at it. Kind of like a Zoom chat with someone who does their own makeup. So there you go. Struggling as well, but taking my time, starting off with a halfling and a dwarf, says Bone Shooter. Should have started back with something bigger than 1 inch in height. Yeah, I hear you. The smaller the figure, the trickier it is to paint, is also what I've found. So that's why I went with the dungeon tiles. You may want to just pick up some pre-painted, or pre-primed rather, miniatures. Some Wizco things, WizKids rather. They've got, the Pathfinder ones, and they've got the Dungeons and Dragons ones and those. But some of the ones I picked up were doors, catapults, siege equipment, stuff like that, because I needed some of that stuff for some tabletop wargaming, and it seemed to me that one of the ways to go with this new painting thing was to start off, like I say, with 3D dungeon tile pieces, and then those were all primed already when my friend Sarah passed those on to me. And then those pre-painted siege equipment ones don't require a huge amount of detail or skill, I don't think, to paint. We'll see. I mean, maybe I can screw those up too. We'll have to figure that out as we attempt it. But those shouldn't be too difficult to paint. it's more about coverage, right? For me, and I posted a meme about this the other day where you see a miniature you painted and it looks pretty good. And then you take a picture of that same miniature and boy, the flaws pop out. I missed a little spot here, there's a little spot there. Totally did not prime or paint the crotch underneath because I couldn't get at it with the base of the miniature there and whatever. So, there's just a ton of ways that you can find yourself struggling early on when it comes to miniatures painting. But we'll address some of those problems on Thursdays as I encounter them personally, undoubtedly, from week to week. Wednesdays, Grimwald discussion. That's really campaign setting discussion. My own campaign setting being called Grimwald. So, a lot of that content will be general campaign discussion, but I'll be specifically discussing my own campaign setting by way of example, therefore. And also because I irregularly now run a Tuesday game in the evening that's not being streamed yet as people find their way with the technology moving from a face-to-face game to an online game. But I discuss what happens in that game and talk about it in ways that should amuse and delight anybody who is a fan of the game of Dungeons and Dragons. I run a first edition game, Bone Shooter, in case you weren't aware. Pretty much core stuff. I don't make a ton of changes except to streamline things. No half-orcs, no monks, no evil alignments. Stick with the player's handbook for characters so we don't get into Unearthed Arcana, though I'm always open to people importing stuff by way of, say, taking time within the game to research a spell and then just wholesale picking one up out of Unearthed Arcana, since they're basically pre-balanced for first edition, right? So I don't know if I have a whole lot of rules beyond that, except, like I say, to not use some sections of the rules in favor of just streamlining the game and keeping the pace. That's always important for me, is to make sure a game moves along. Cartography and world building, as I say, on Tuesdays. Tomorrow I'll be doing probably doing some work for the Con of Champions games that I have coming up the weekend of the 24th, later this month. I've got some stuff set up, and I know I've got to work on some of that on Friday as well, as I build them for virtual tabletop. Actually, cartography and world building. I may actually be working on the Schoolyard Challenge project that I have with Jonathan Bingham on Tuesday. That actually might need to happen this week. I've been doing a quick adventure built off a map. Bone Shooter says I allow the PHB and XGE. That's it. They need to attune something before I reveal what it actually is. XGE. Okay, that one's not jumping out at me as a Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Okay, so you're running a 5th edition game. Gotcha. Sorry, I was trying to think of what that was in relationship to 1st edition, since my mind was in the 1st edition mode. But yeah, Xanathar's Guide to Everything. from 4 years of managing a game store, I can tell you that beyond the core books, the three, that easily the most popular additional book. I'm a player in 3.5 for an adult group. Cool. So a little fifth, a little 3.5. Couple of games going. That's pretty good. It's tough enough getting one game in these days, huh? With not being able to get together and face to face. Is that your preferred way to play, face to face games, or are you more of an online player from the go anyway? Is that something you're regularly doing already? Started back in '79, AD&D. There you go. An old schooler. Are you in the OK Grognard Show Facebook group? Are you even on Facebook? I could never associate names on Twitch or Discord with people I know from Facebook or from real life. Yep, I prefer face-to-face, he says, using virtual tabletop until we can get back together. Yep, definitely. I prefer the face-to-face games myself. Although I'm finding a lot of ways to make sure that there's a sort of face-to-face feel when I'm running virtual games. Just requested to join the Facebook group. Oh, okay, gotcha. I'll make sure that when I get over there. Oh yeah, there you are. Right on. Approved. Thank you. Appreciate that. Well, we're on the where'd we go? There you are. Shot your friend request too. It's a little easier for me to. Now I see Brad's a mutual friend of ours. Devious Dungeons paintings. Is he also someone you game with regularly? Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for both joining the group and befriending and all that. Devious Dungeons. So he's, is he one of the people that's got you getting back into painting? Since that's one of his things. I love that, what is it, Old Other Worlds Miniatures that does the miniature diorama, I guess is what I'm looking for. Diorama based off of the cover of the first edition. Like it's up on the screen right now that I use in the schedule. That famous Trampier art, huh? But he does a lot of cool stuff. I mean, you flip through Brad's Facebook page photos, starting off with, guess he's up in Toronto, maybe? He's a Leafs fan, anyway. And a Lemmy fan. Right on. Anyway, his cover picture is that Other Worlds Miniatures diorama from the PHB cover, which is pretty cool. All right. Mike Disney, there you go. Two of them got you back into painting. Very cool. Yeah, it's nice. There's compared to how it was back when we started playing and gaming and collecting and all that other stuff in the late 70s, early 80s. It's certainly a lot easier to jump into stuff, to look for tutorials, to get advice, to meet other people whose brains you can pick. I mean, sure, if you had a good game store locally, yeah, testers, model paints. Yeah, an old school lead for me, right? Stuff from the early 70s and onward. Some of those little lumps of lead with, you almost couldn't tell they were little people. They were so lacking in detail. But, there's even stuff that you can buy today that you wouldn't consider greatly detailed, but for building an army, for putting together a whole bunch of figures together, definitely. You were a kid in Germany, it was tough to find stuff. D&D wasn't worldwide at the time, but we made it work. Yeah, Germany, I'll tell you, of all the places you could have been in the world where gaming was probably pretty darn good at that time. Germany, next to the United States and the UK, Germany is probably way above average when it comes to people playing tabletop games. Maybe not so much RPGs at that time, but the board gaming community dates back, and the wargaming community. Well, there you go, Those are groups. Essen is still the biggest game fair in the world, right? Even bigger than Gen Con, which is topping 100,000. I mean, obviously this year has the big asterisk on all conventions and attendance and everything else, because even if some conventions like Gen Con manage to happen in August, the attendance is going to be way down. Just people that are going to want to avoid any sort of crowds or mitigate any sort of risks. And not just, we're not just talking about some sort of fear factor here. There are plenty of people that need to be risk adverse because of health conditions and just, age and weight and smokers and anybody with heavy allergies or any sort of sinus or lung infection proclivity. So GaryCon was virtual this year indeed. I definitely got involved with that, and I'll be getting involved with, and let me just change the screen, I'll be getting involved with Con of Champions later this month. I was talking about that before. I'm running some first edition games. First level, third level, and fifth level on Saturday. You can see I built a little dinner break into my schedule. And I'll be running the same types of games on Monday. They won't be the exact same ones. That's why I've named them differently, even though I named them similarly. Cobalt Con, got involved with that a little bit. Played in a couple of first edition games there. And attended a bunch of seminars like stuff with Alyssa Faden, map making stuff, and of course some Bill Petrosky does those great seminars. This most recent time, he did one on narrative viewpoints and making sure that your narrative has a distinctiveness to it, which is something I can use a lot of advice on. I mean, I've been running games since it came out, since D&D came out in '74, but there's always areas where you can improve. And even with, a dozen plus years under my belt as a non-equity actor in Chicago, it doesn't change the fact that you can always bring more to your quote-unquote performance whenever you're running games. And for me, I think thinking of narration, information transference between combats and between the role-playing, between the scene work, if you will, where NPCs are involved and you're able to jump into a character and even slip in some exposition that way. But when you're just flat out talking about the game, when you're getting it started, jumping right in with creating yourself as a character, thinking of yourself as a character when you're narrating is an important aspect to making the game well-rounded as a whole. In any event, those are the games I'm running. I am running a board game on Sunday. Just kind of break up the schedule a bit, and I've got some other stuff that I've picked up already. And with that, I will say we've past our half-hour mark, but we've covered a lot of topics, and I appreciate Boneshire you coming in and joining the chat while we were streaming here. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thanks for joining the Facebook group and friending me back. And make sure you check out Con of Champions. It's a big deal. It's kind of rescuing itself, which is tabletop events. They've been the backbone of a lot of conventions for registration and for con registration as well as event registration. They do Gary Con and they do so many others. And this year, with conventions not happening, they're really getting a kick right in the nuts. So, anything you can do, even if you just sign up at the $2 level and jump in some games, that'll help them out. But they've got all different levels, 5, 10, 20, 25, 50, whatever you can give, whatever you think it's worth to keep them alive. Because keeping them alive is helping out every other convention, like Gary Con and like, anyone that uses them. Cobalt Con, Colossal Con. I'm pretty sure Gamehole Con uses them as well. So, big ones like that. Anyway, thank you very much. We will catch everybody next time on the OK Grognard Show tomorrow for cartography and world building. Take care. Bye-bye.